Every single morning at exactly 7:15 a.m., a golden brown dog would walk slowly down Maplewood's South Quiet Street and sit beside the same old bus stop under a wide oak tree. It didn't matter if the air was freezing cold or burning hot. It didn't matter if rain poured down in sheets or snow covered the sidewalks in silence. For 6 long years, he never missed a day. The people of the town used to whisper about him. Some thought he was abandoned. Some believed he was simply lost. But the truth was something much deeper. He wasn't waiting for food. He wasn't waiting for shelter. He was waiting for someone who once made a promise to come back. 6 years earlier, that same bus stop was just an ordinary place where workers gathered before sunrise. Among them stood a man named Daniel Harper. He was a construction worker with rough hands and tired eyes, but if you ever saw him kneel down to tie his dog's collar, you would see the softness in his heart. The dog's name was Maximum. Daniel had found him as a tiny shivering puppy behind a grocery store during a heavy rainstorm. Max had been trembling, barely able to stand, abandoned by someone who never looked back. Daniel had wrapped him inside his jacket that night and whispered, "Looks like it's you and me now, buddy." From that moment on, they were inseparable. Every morning became their ritual. Daniel would walk Max to the bus stop before work. Max would sit proudly beside him, tail swaying like a metronome of happiness. When the bus arrived, Daniel would kneel down, press his forehead gently against Max's head, and say, "Guard the house until I get back." Max would let out a soft bark, as if sealing a promise. And every evening at 6:10 p.m. sharp, Max would race back to the bus stop, ears perked, eyes locked on the road. The second Daniel stepped off that bus, Max would leap into his arms. It was love in its simplest and purest form, predictable, steady, unbreakable. Until the storm came. One Thursday evening, dark clouds swallowed the sky. Daniel was running late that morning and hurried his goodbye. "I'll be back early tonight, okay?" he said, scratching Max behind the ears. The bus doors shut. The rain started falling harder than usual. That evening, 6:10 p.m. passed. No bus. 6:30. 7 o'clock. The wind howled through the trees. Max stayed there, soaked and shivering, refusing to move. Hours later, a neighbor approached with trembling hands and heartbreaking news. There had been an accident on the highway. A collision in the storm. Daniel wasn't coming home. Max didn't understand hospital rooms or funerals. He didn't understand why the house felt empty or why Daniel's boots never returned to the doorway. But he understood something else. Daniel said he would come back. So the next morning, at exactly 7:15 a.m., Max walked to the bus stop and sat down. He waited. The bus arrived. People stepped off. None of them were Daniel. Max went home slowly. That evening, he returned at 6:10 p.m. He waited again. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Neighbors tried to adopt him, tried to keep him inside, tried to give him comfort. But every morning, without fail, Max slipped out the door and walked back to the bus stop. Rain soaked his fur. Snow gathered on his back. Autumn leaves fell around him like quiet applause for his devotion. Children walking to school would sit beside him and pet his head. Shop owners left bowls of food near the bench. An elderly woman knitted him a thick scarf for winter. Slowly, the town stopped calling him the stray. They started calling him Guardian Paw because he wasn't just waiting, he was guarding something sacred. Years passed. His golden fur faded into soft grey around his muzzle. His steps became slower, heavier, but his schedule never changed. 7:15 in the morning, 6:10 in the evening. Always there, always watching the road. One afternoon, a college student named Mia recorded him sitting quietly in falling snow. She posted the video online with a simple caption, "This dog has waited here every day for 6 years. His owner died in an accident. He still thinks he's coming back." Within days, millions of people watched the clip. Comments flooded in from across the world. People cried. People shared their own stories of loyal pets. Donations came in to build him a small shelter near the bus stop, but Max rarely used it. He preferred the bench, the exact spot where Daniel used to stand. Then, in the 6th autumn, something changed. A bus pulled up at 7:15 a.m., just like always. The doors opened. A man stepped off who looked strangely familiar. Same height. Same warm eyes. He stood frozen when he saw Max sitting there. Max slowly raised his head. His ears twitched. The man whispered, barely audible, "Max." The name hadn't been spoken in that voice for years. Max stood up carefully, his legs trembling. The man knelt down, tears filling his eyes. "I'm Michael, Daniel's brother." Max stepped forward, sniffed his hand, and for a moment the entire town seemed to hold its breath. Then Max's tail began to wag, slowly at first, then faster, like a memory waking up inside him. Michael pulled out an old photo from his wallet. Daniel holding Max as a puppy, both smiling at the camera. "I didn't know where you went after the accident," Michael said softly. "I've been searching for you. I saw the video online. I knew it had to be you." For the first time in 6 years, when the next bus arrived, Max didn't look at it. He kept his eyes on Michael. The town gathered around them. Some cried openly. Some smiled through tears. Guardian Paw had finally found family again. Michael adopted Max that very day. Before leaving Maplewood, he brought Max back to the bus stop one final time. He knelt beside him and whispered, "You kept your promise long enough. You waited like he would have wanted. It's okay to come home now." Max looked around slowly. The oak tree, the bench, the road that once carried hope. Then he turned away from it, not with sadness, but with peace. He walked beside Michael toward a new beginning. Max lived 2 more gentle years filled with warmth and comfort. Soft blankets, slow walks, a backyard where he could rest without watching the road. And one quiet winter evening, he fell asleep beside the fireplace and never woke up. Michael buried him under a large oak tree in his yard. Back in Maplewood, the townspeople placed a small golden statue at the bus stop. A dog sitting proudly, eyes forward, loyal to the end. Beneath it, a simple plaque reads, "Guardian Paw, for teaching us that love never gives up." Because loyalty doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It simply waits. Sometimes for hours, sometimes for years, and sometimes forever. If this story touched your heart, remember that to your dog, you are not just part of their world, you are their entire world. And in their quiet waiting, in their steady gaze at the door, in the soft wag of their tail, lives the purest kind of love we will ever know. Subscribe to Wow Stories, where every paw print carries a memory, and every story reminds us what it truly means to love without limits.